Hey, and welcome back to our final screencast on Mexico. And before I get started, I want to congratulate you because if you've watched all these screencasts, you now know more about Mexico than most people in this country. So give yourself a pat on the back for that. What are we going to do with this knowledge? We're going to put ourselves in the shoes of the Mexican people and think with their mindset what would be best for their country. We're not thinking from the American mindset and do we like immigrants or not, or do we like Mexico this or Mexico that. We're not going to think from the American perspective. We're going to think from the Mexican perspective. What do you think you would feel if you were a Mexican citizen? So let's recap the essential questions we've been looking at in this unit. Number one, what principles should guide the development of Mexico's economy? Number two, how should Mexico define its relationship with the United States? Number three, how should it define its relationship with the rest of the world? And number four, how should Mexicans address their country's inequality and poverty? Okay, so when experts in Mexico get together and think about these questions, they come up with three main responses. So there are some political groups that like response one, some that like option two, and some that like option three. So these are the three main sets of ideas that come up when Mexicans think about these issues. The first one is enforce order and stability. And as you know, the main thing going on right now, there's a lot of drugs and a lot of violence. So with option one, you think that the war on drugs must continue if Mexico is to have a bright future. The government must focus on stamping out corruption among criminal local officials and ending the drug trade that threatens our communities. They also need a stronger relationship with the United States. They should continue to pursue joint policies like the war on drugs and partner with the U.S. government to secure the shared border and increase legitimate trade. So Mexico should embrace NAFTA and encourage more private businesses to grow in the economy. And remember, this is the new name of NAFTA. The final thing is that government authority and force is the path to a stable and secure future. So these guys are like, let's not mess around with crime and drugs. Let's take care of business. Let's secure the border. Let's work with the U.S. That's their deal. Option two is to pursue justice and clean government. These folks think that the so-called war on drugs has resulted in increased murder rates and violence against innocent civilians. So they want to demilitarize the streets and end the war on drugs. So a lot of the police stations have military equipment. They also think Mexico should focus on improving its local police forces and strengthening the justice system. So getting rid of corruption out of the police force, out of the judicial system, getting good judges. They also think the government should pursue economic equality and improve education instead of waging the war on drugs. Okay, the option two people also think Mexico should limit their partnership with the United States. It should only be about pursuing peace, negotiating fairer trade that will benefit Mexican workers. They also want to push for better treatment of Mexican migrants living in the United States and demand greater U.S. regulation of gun sales. Remember, America sells Mexicans a lot of guns. So they think fairness and equality must serve as the foundation for a new Mexico. So they're looking out for workers, they're trying to improve education and get a better judicial system. Finally, option three, I know some of you are going to like this one, lead the revolution. History has shown us that in Mexico, successful reform of the Mexican government is impossible. These folks believe that today the government wages war on its own people in the name of ending the drug trade. They also think their big thing is let's dissolve the central government and disarm the military and replace it with small, localized governments that represent their populations. So there's 31 states in Mexico. Let's get power to them, smaller local governments. If they do that, they think that the Mexican people will be involved in the decision making and they will find solutions that uniquely suit their local needs. So economic solutions, drug and violence solutions, education solutions. Through the creation of local industries, they think that the Mexican people can become economically self-sufficient. No longer will the poor have to depend on the elite landowners or foreign imports for survival. So these guys are like, it's time to put an end to tyranny and create a completely Mexican future for Mexico. All right, so there are the three options. Now, when I'm making this screencast right now, I'm not exactly sure what the assignment will be, but you will have some sort of question you need to answer about what you prefer. Maybe one option all by itself or maybe some mix, and you'll need to justify that with facts that we've learned in our Mexico unit. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have any questions about the options, email me or see me in class. And that's it for Mexico.